In this session, I'm going to be covering what we do in regards to tallying the physician points during their scheduled shift. You'll start from your verified sign screen and you will go to the search tab. Once you're in the search tab, you'll create a new search and you'll input today's date. Make sure you have your box checked by date and time read, and then you'll enter the reading physician's first 3 or 4 letters of their last name. So we'll start with Dr. Maez, and we'll allow it to go ahead and pull up all of his studies that he's completed today. Now do keep in mind that this does go from midnight to midnight, so it will be everything that he's read for that date. And in this session, we're going to be using March 18th of 2016. And generally you'll want to hit the plus sign to expand all of the studies to make sure that you get every one of his reads that he's done for the day. Now once you have all of his studies open, you'll select anywhere on the screen, you'll highlight a study, you will right click, and you will export that into an Excel sheet. That way you can manipulate the numbers and we can add them into our points template. That way we can submit them to Dr. Mays. Typically he likes them the last 4 hours of the shift, so if you're working the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. shift, he's going to ask for them to be submitted to him at 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the end of the radiologist shift. If you're working from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., he'll ask for them at 9, 10, 11, and midnight. That's so he can, if he needs to, he can go ahead and assist the radiologist by jumping on if they're too far ahead, too far behind. That way we can keep everything on the level playing field. I'm already got a folder selected here on my desktop. I have it listed under physician points, and I have a folder already labeled for my S points. I'm going to go ahead and save that. What I will do next is the next reading radiologist that I had on my shift was Dr. Urban. So I'll type in URB. I'll hit enter to start the new search. And once again, all of his studies will go ahead and populate. And we want to hit the plus sign to expand to make sure that we got all of his reads done for the day as well. Again, select any study, right click, and go ahead and export that. And I've already got a folder for Urban's points. I'll go ahead and save that there. Once I have the points that I need, or the Excel sheets that I need, I will go ahead and open up my folder, and I will go ahead and open up several windows to be able to get to the sheets that I need to start tallying the points. So I've got Maez, I'll open up my physician templates, and Dr. Urban, and I will open them up, and they will go ahead and populate on my screen, so then I can start splitting the studies and tallying my points for once the spreadsheets have opened up, I'll go ahead and expand them. Looks like I'm still waiting on a couple more to open up. One of them is going to be the physician's template. That's where we're going to add all of our numbers in. Once we break down the studies, I will open up the spreadsheet and I will select all of my data. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap my text, follow by unmerging the cells, and what I'm doing is I'm just getting it down to where it's going to be more manageable for me to be able to work with the numbers. I will then custom sort them. My data does have headers, which is the stay object type, date, time, description. I will select that, and then I will go ahead and sort them by object type. Once I sort them by object type, that's going to allow me to get rid of the information that I'm not going to need in order to tally the points. So the first two columns I will remove. The middle columns, as far as images, priority, body part, document, status, patient, age, and sex, I'll go ahead and remove as well. And lastly, I'll remove fax status and receive time. All that's information that I don't necessarily need in order to tally my points. Then I'm just going to go ahead and open up this window a little bit. That way I can see all of the exams. Once I have removed everything that I don't need, I will then again sort. This time I'm going to sort by the date and time read. And since I am dealing with Dr. Mays, I am going to go ahead and remove everything from midnight to 8 a.m. because I'm only working with the shift from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I will remove all of that information, and then I'm going to go ahead and go down here and I'm going to remove everything past 4 p.m. because I'm not going to need to worry about those studies at this time. Once I have all of my information here, I'm going to highlight and I'm going to sort one more time. This time I'm going to go ahead and sort it by object type, and that's going to group all of my CRs together, all of my CTs together, all of the MRs, and then the ultrasounds ultimately. Once I have everything sorted by this object type, I'm going to add a filter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter out everything that I don't want to look at right now. So I'm going to remove the CTs, any of the blank spaces, ultrasounds, and MRs. So at this point all I'm going to be looking at is plain film x-rays, the CRs and the DXs. So that's going to limit me down to all of the studies that I have. If you look in the bottom left hand corner, I show 52 studies. That's not an accurate tally because in a study there could be a wrist, a hand, a T-spine, an L-spine, and those studies actually have to be split up. So what I'm going to do at this point in time is I'm going to look to make sure that there aren't any duplicates or any double studies within a line. And here we have the femur and pelvis. That one is one study. Everything that they're going to view is within that study. So that one's going to be just accounted for one. We're going down and we're looking for 2 exams within one study. So here we have the humerus and the left shoulder. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that row, and then we're going to insert that row. Here we have a T-spine and an L-spine. Once again, we'll copy and we will insert that row. As we go down, we'll take a look, and I don't believe to see any other exams. The bilateral hips with pelvis will count as one exam. Even though it is the bilateral hips with the pelvis, that is what they refer to as a trauma hip or trauma pelvis, and that will count as one exam. So at this point in time, we'll just go through and we will count what we're looking at. And we're going to take a look again and see what we have. This will go ahead and add them up for me, or it should. And it won't. So we have 52, 53, and 54. Once we have the number of X-rays or CRs and DXs, then we're going to populate them here. That will give us 54 exams. Then next, we're going to go ahead and filter out the X-ray, the ultrasounds, and tally those up. And we show to have a right-left arterial and venous Doppler, abdominal complete, and right lower extremity venous. This, even though it shows an arterial and venous, that still classifies as one exam. So we have 3 ultrasounds. We will go ahead and add those to our template. Next, we will move on to the CTs. There will be a difference between the CT head, CT C-spine. Here we have CT head, CT sinuses, CT head, CT cervical. You don't want to count your CT abdomen pelvis yet because that's a separate category. So right now we have 4 CTs. We will go ahead and add those to Dr. May's template. And then we will add in the CT abdomen pelvis. We have 1 CT abdomen pelvis. And then we'll finally move on to the MRs. We'll select our MRs. We have an MR brain, MR L-spine. We will go ahead and add that to our template for a total of 2. And that will give us our total of what Dr. Maya's read in that 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift. He has a total of 55.7 points. I'll go ahead and review this again with Dr. Urban's points. Again, we'll highlight the exams. We will unwrap our text. We will unmerge the cells because we want them all the same size. And we will custom sort. My data has headers. And then we will sort by object type. Once again, we have everything lined up. We'll remove what we don't need. The first 2 columns, the middle columns, and lastly, fax and receive times. We will open up our exams, and once again, we will custom sort. Once again, we will custom sort to remove everything that we are not looking for within that 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. window. So Dr. Urban's shift started at 8 a.m. and we will go to the end of his exams. Excuse me. And the last exam that he read was at 3:19. So we'll go ahead and remove these blank lines. Again, we will highlight our data. We will custom sort once again, and we will sort by object type. Once we do that, we will add our filters in, and we'll remove everything that we don't want to see right now. In this instance, we're going to remove the ultrasounds because we're not tallying those at this time. And we show a total of 97 down in the bottom left-hand corner. Once again, we'll be looking for any multiple exams within a study. And we don't have any to this point. We have bilateral shoulders and bilateral knees. Bilateral shoulders, we're going to be at 98, 99, 100. Right hip, right femur, so that's going to be 101. Right ankle, 102. And then here we have left humerus and left forearm for 104. Left hand for 105. And that appears to be all. So we will add the tally of 105 to Dr. Urban's points, and we'll move on to the next column, on the template, which is the ultrasounds. Again, we will remove everything but what we want to look at, which is the ultrasounds. And we do show 2 ultrasounds, and so we will add those to Dr. Urban's template as well. The 2 ultrasounds bring Dr. Urban's total for his reads from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to 65.4 points. Once you have all of the figures that Dr. Mays is asking, you will open up your click messaging system and you will send Dr. Maez the tallies for the shift. Now do remember, you will be doing this at 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can go ahead and just keep your running total as you go along. We also have a separate points template to where you can track your points on an hourly basis. So now that I have my points for the shift, I will go ahead and submit them to Dr. Maez, and I will type Dr. Urban's name correctly. He has a total of 65.4. Dr. Maez, 55.7.
Important message.
I will go ahead and request acknowledgement, and I will submit them to him. That is how we do end of shift points.